Is everything at Sentinels about to melt down? Because you see, they finished in 9th, 10th at kickoff. That is not very good. And yes, you could argue, oh, well, actually, they're, maybe a bit better than EG, but that's just the way the bracket went out. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. This is a terrible finish for Sentinels. And maybe justifiably, therefore, the Sentinel fans have been very angry with the team. And more than just that, if you take a look at Sen's games from kickoff, they actually only won 2 maps, and they were both against EG, and they got 2-0'd by Furia, 100 Thieves, and Lev. And as we kind of saw from Lev's last game as well, Lev aren't particularly a great team either. So let's take a look at that Lev game and what went so wrong for Sentinels. And that's the thing, there is a lot to talk about when it comes to Sen, like for instance their comps and what roles people are playing as well, right? Because we did get a bit of a swap here with Redux going to Waylay, Narrate going to Neon, which I would say Narrate going to Neon, he definitely had a better game than he had before, but Redux maybe, still struggling on this kind of, Waylay role that he hadn't really played before. But we're going to focus on their defensive side, and Sideshow actually did mention this during Plat Chat as well, kind of some of the problems that they had on this defense side of Corrode. Dive into it in depth, and we're going to start here with round number 16, which is the first full gun round. And this round actually starts off very positively for Sentinels.
To be here, Narrate, trying to fight down mid, gets in that dark cover fast, and now
might be rewarded.
Top.
I think he might be rewarded for this. King's about to get forward, and Caillou sprays Sato down through the smoke.
Okay, so that's about as good as it could have gone, right? They go for this, I mean, not even like a full, full aggro mid fight, but, they're just kind of here ready to fight in mid, and they managed to get the first 2 kills, one through a spam, one from Narrate's little angle just there, and now it's a 5v3, right? And you're in a very good spot, but this is the thing that caused Sen a lot of problems. This Viper wall over towards B just here from Leviathan, and you've got Cortesia here in an interesting spot. Now, we're going to see in later rounds, I would say that maybe one of the problems he has is he plays it too passive, but in a 5v3, it is perfectly reasonable to give up the site here, right? If you take a look at the map, he is completely isolated, completely on his own. In a 5v3, you don't want to take a 1v2 or a 1v3 or anything like that. And as you can see, he's on the wrong side of the wall here, right? In terms of these guys have actually already walked up on him. So he's just in a bad spot. And what ends up happening here is he eventually just kind of like takes a time to swing through the wall and just insta dies, right? Which then becomes a massive problem. Now, the B site, you probably know that they're going to end there. Looking at the map, what you've got right now. Unfortunately for them, at this precise moment, they decide to smoke this. Probably was already being done before this kill even came into effect. But what happens off that is Narrate now swings and also dies. Our timing here is just completely wrong in terms of what we want to do. And, we get punished heavily for it, because in this spot here, after we've lost that Cortesia kill, we have many options, right? We could just decide to try and push mid and come for kind of a fast flank, go for a flank retake, or we could, try and back up and just play a normal kind of retake post plant as well, right? Either option is okay, right? Going for the push is maybe, I would say, a little bit better probably in this spot, but we end up with Narrate dying there, and now you're in a gigantic problem, right? So this is how these rounds often get lost, I would say. How do you lose a 5v3? It often is just like one guy on his own dies and that kind of cascades and causes something else to happen, and then, they die, and then you end up in this spot where you're now in a 3v3, but you're now in a very, very bad position looking at this map.
Archers, back towards B yard. Like he's got a straight line down towards spawn. It's going to be really hard to get that space off of him.
That's going to be Redux nullified for a moment, but it's Sen going for this double flank.
Spray? Oh, spike, beautiful.
So now let's go to the very next round, though. This is actually a round that Sen win, and the reason that I want to show it is because there has been a lot of heat on Kaplan in particular, right? But after the round that we just saw, he then took a timeout. Right, so he takes his first of 2 timeouts in this half, and actually, by the way, after both of the timeouts he takes, they actually win the round after, right? And he does, I think, come up with an adaptation for how they want to deal with this Viper wall, right? Because here you've got the Waylay, and Redux has saved the op from the previous round, so their buy, doesn't look so great, right? But they do have this op, and what they decide to do, what Kaplan decides, to send Sen on is basically a passive stack on A with the op alone on B, and you see instantly he gets ahead of this Viper wall, and they're going to get rewarded for this, and actually having kind of this adjustment to it. There you go, they managed to get the first kill. I'm playing this at 2 times speed because Lev are painfully slow. And I mean, again, Sen against most teams here, they probably would go, well, they've got an AWP and 4 eco guns. Let's go to the site that the AWP isn't. Lev don't do that, because if anything happens before, 20 seconds left on the clock, they get dizzy. So they actually decide instead, well, we're actually going to come for this B split because they won't expect that. But they're going to get punished for that pretty hard.
Is tipping them off to... Wait a second, that's probably the site where there's not a lot going on. okay, I mean, all right, that's
And then from here in a 5v3, Sen are able to win in the post play.
Oh, Narrate's got everything. They have a saturate. I mean, they've got every single tool you could want to get back in, except for rifles.
Yeah, and they struggled on retake rounds with those rifles wired, let alone a round like this. We need to see them step up. Not a great start. Neon has already handled Redux. It's going to be a flood here out of elbow. Off some util timing, nicely done by Kai. Really just beating the odds. And here's the raid. Here's the bucket I spoke of. And I guess I'm in my words now. It's blows in the...
So Sen managed to actually win that round, right, with a nice adaptation. And the reason that I'm showing you that round and Sen actually being successful is because what I don't understand is they had that round, right? They had the round. They defeated this Viper wall by having the op down here and being aggressive with it. And the problem for me is, as you will now see in the rest of this video, is that they never did that again. They never went back to it and are now going to have serious struggles again with this Viper wall, because look at where our setup is from the very beginning of the round. The barriers haven't even dropped. Look at how passive we are against this Viper wall. And again, even though this round is going to start well for Sentinels, as you will see, they're going to lose another 5v3.
That's going to be some space given up, but Redux is reluctant. He wants to repost it into a Prowler? Okay. Yeah, thinks twice about that one. Has to get away, but blows his core.
So there you go. We actually get a nice saturate Silver ult play going on here for Sen. And by the way, they get the first kill in a lot of the rounds that they lose in this game. It wasn't always the first 2 kills as they do in this one. Also, by the way, I mean, Lev, what is this? What are you trying to even do here, Sato? You'll have to explain this one to me. Let me just waste my util. What was the plan there? What were you ever going to do? Oh, guys, there's people on A that we've already fought and know are there. What are you doing? But you'll see, if we take a look at the map, look at this. Look at how passive they are on B. Now, again, this is only a 4v5 at this point. And, 3v5s and stuff like that, as I said kind of at the start of the video, you can maybe afford to, give up a bit of space, particularly if you're completely on your own. But this is from the start of the round they were giving up the whole site. That doesn't make any sense. That's not very good. That's not what we want. And look at how easy this is. Now, again, Lev, I don't know what they're doing. I mean, Lev aren't a good team. The way that they play doesn't make any sense a lot of the time. They aren't a good team. What are we doing? They are just like a safari tour of maps. Everyone just go walk around on your own and pray to God that someone just gives you a free kill. That's the only way they play. But again, we end up in a 5v3. They've given up the whole B site. I mean, this Viper has walked around the whole B site and now to here. Right, that's how much space we're giving up. Look at where they are standing, man. Look at how much space they are giving up here in this round, right? And the thing is, this is a 5v3. You know how they're going to lose this round? They're going to lose to time.
The spike going down. Wait, Neon knows. I think Eric, he made some sound. He's caught.
Okay, Odin Tower. That's definitely a recipe for success. Sato is wise to it though, and time is getting short. This has taken Sentinels a long time to get in position. They got to go now. Paranoia comes through. He's going to be able to catch on the spike. It's going to be a 2 for 2. Redux in there.
They got to get on this spike. Time is getting so low.
Oh, it's an easy shot, and Redux have it.
So after that round, Kaplan then took his second timeout, and this time again they won this round and they reinforced B with 2 players instead, right? And this is what I just find so crazy about this, because again, you've got this Viper wall here, but this time we've got 2 players towards it, so this time they smoke it off. They've got multiple players here. We're not letting that happen. And Lev, again, just sit around. I'm playing this at 2 times speed. They just sit around. The drone comes out, sees these guys, smoke it off again. We're not letting you walk in there, and if Lev can't walk in there, well, then they're mostly clueless. They then don't know what to do. They will just walk around the map until they finally meet the op and die, as you see just there, right? And Sen are going to end up winning this round. And so again, off a timeout, Kaplan has come up with a bit of a different strategy that, gives them a chance to win. They aren't just playing completely passive on the B side. They aren't just letting a team completely walk in on them, and they manage to win the round. Shock horror. But then let's finish with the very next round. Now, this again is a round that Sen actually win because Lev are bad. Okay, Lev are not a good team, which again is not a good sign that you're losing to this team that is not very good. Okay, but take a look at what happens on the map here, right? We start off and you might be like, oh, it's fine. Right, it's absolutely fine. 2 players here on B, we're gonna be alright. But again, they're pretty passive here. They're not really fighting for any part of the map here, really, Sen, right? There's a little bit of aggro out towards mid here from Redux, but then he quickly kind of, waltzes away, and, we're in a different world now. And now we don't know where they're going. We think it's going to be early A pressure here from Lev, so the Omen starts to rotate. And this, again, look at the map that we end up with. Once this Omen is rotated to here, we end up with this problem of, well, now this Viper wall is up, and this Viper could have walked past this, right? So just take a look. Now, Omen here, John QT, he's not going to move. He's going to stay here in heaven, watching to see if they've pushed all the way up here. Now, actually, Lev, as we can see, are going to, it's Lev. So they fake, they're going to come this way and fake as if they're going that way. And then actually they're going to come back towards A, right? They think they're prime FNS here, and they think that they're geniuses. They aren't. They end up losing this round. But in theory, this could work if they weren't awful. So they get the kill on Cortesia there. They then dash in Sato here, Fade Horn, all that. They still think the Viper might have walked up here the whole time. These guys start to rotate. Now we walk in this way, but then we kill Sato on the site here with an Odin. We give these guys enough time to actually come back all the way, and we're going to end up in a 4v4 post plant here that, again, they managed to lose because it's Lev, and they're not very good at the game. But I do feel some sympathy here for Kaplan, right? Because he gave them multiple different, hey, just stay on B or get ahead of it on B. And they just didn't do those things. They never once went back with an op and thought, well, we've already seen that works, right? We've already seen that putting an op on this line works here, right? We know that works. We know that Lev aren't going to multi-commit here. It's always basically max 2 players, a Chamber and a Viper. You're just going to have probably this line for free if you want it. And they did that. But then they never once did it again, even though it worked. And so there is a lot of different things for Sentinels to work on here. And I do think it is worrying to lose to Leviathan, because as Cloud9 showed in the very next game, Lev aren't very good. So it is a bit of a worry for me for Sentinels that they had the answers. The answers were there for them, but I don't know if it's a lack of confidence. I don't know if it's something wrong with the team structure or whatever it is. They just instantly went back into their shell and just basically lost to a Viper wall that they actually had answers for.